good morning. Welcome back to the Crafty Dancer. Just wanted to show you guys kind of what I'm doing here. What I have for today is a large betta fish mold, and what I'm planning on doing is you can see I've already started, but I have some butterflies and some little flowers. And what I'm going to do is I'm arranging these to where they all go into the mold, and you can see I have some butterfly stickers as well. And so what I'm doing with them is I'm putting them in with the flowers on top. Because they are sticky on the back, it makes it easier to handle. I've already arranged them, and I've got a little bit of a spot there. I'm going to take that out with a little tape. Make sure your molds are nice and clean when you do this. You don't want any little debris floating around, because you may end up having some anyway, but this kind of helps to maintain a nice clean mold. And you can see around the edges, it's got quite a bit of stuff on it from past workings, but we're going to deal with that as we go. So that's what I'm doing today, is I'm taking all these little flowers and I'm putting them in place with little butterflies, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be pouring clear resin into this. But first I want to make sure that I've got all my little stuff in place. And what I'm doing is I'm taking some of these here that have these long stems, and I'm just nipping them off so that I can place them into certain areas, just like so. And then when you pour the clear, everything kind of gets magnified, so it works out really nice. And I've got a variety of these. They come in different ways. A lot of them are paper. You want to be careful, and I've tested all these. They should not bleed because I've tried to make sure of that, but you never know. So I'm just going to keep going and just place all of these down, and I want to get the best looks. So as you can see, I'm kind of layering it as I go so that I get different looks throughout. Now, of course, when I pour it with clear, the final top layer is actually going to end up being either, I'm thinking black, but I did one in white that really stood out and made all these things pop. So I might just go ahead and do a white. Pearlescent white was what I used last time, and it worked extremely well. So thinking about going with the same thing again. And you can see I got all these little flowers I can place, and we'll just get them into their little places. And yes, I did start before I started filming, just so I can see how it's going to go. Wanted to make sure everything kind of works nicely, and it does. And by layering it, it's going to give a little more depth to it. So it's a large betta fish mold is what it is. Now, of course, when we pour it, we're going to try to get it as much of it debubbled as possible. I also have these little roses here. I'm going to try and get those in as well. Whoops, which way? There we go. So I'm going to just place one like right up here. Now what you want to do is make sure that you're below the top of the mold when you put all these in. Always make sure you're below the top of the mold. Do another rose or two, and these long stems I'm just nipping off because I don't really need them to be that long. Some of them I just pop off completely and drop it into place. Into the deeper sections of the mold. There we go, right down in there. Now I think that's enough. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and mix up a nice amount of resin. Now for this, the whole thing takes quite a bit of resin. I have to weigh it, and so what I'll do is I'm going to figure out how much resin I need, and then I will come right back. Okay, so let's talk about how to figure out how much resin you need. So one of the easiest ways for me to do it is to simply, I'm going to set this off to the side for a minute, and I'm going to bring my scale in. Because I've already done one that's just all resin. This is my large betta fish. This was actually Julie Curtis did one, or Julie Cuts in Australia. She's the one that designed this mold, and so I bought it from her, and then I decided to try to make one very similar to what she did, and that's the way it came out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weigh this because it's all resin, except for my little hanging hook there. This is for my wife. It goes in our bathroom on her side of the room. So I just set it down on my scale, and I'll know how much resin it takes. And it says 25 ounces total. So I'm safe to make quite a bit of resin. So these do weigh 25 ounces, 25.4. So I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to start pumping our resin. Now again today, I'm using my favorite resin, which is the Let's Resin. I am not being sponsored. I've just started this channel, so this is just the type of resin that I really enjoy using, so I'm going to keep using it. It's an A and a B, and it's a 1-to-1. So what we can do is we set our cup here, we clear it, and I'm set at 0. So what I'm probably going to do is mix up about 10 ounces in one cup and then 10 ounces in another cup. So that will give me 20 ounces to start. Well, actually, I think I'll start with 7 ounces in one cup and 7 ounces in another cup, and that'll give me 14 ounces to fill up most of my mold. So we're going to go ahead and start pumping. Now 7 ounces means I need 3.5 ounces of each in each cup. So I'll weigh that. I'm at 1.9. .5, another whole ounce. There's 3.1 and 3.5. So 3.5 in that one of part A. I'll do another 3.5 in my second cup. Now the reason I'm doing separate cups is because if you do too much in one cup, it can do what's called a flash cure. It will speed up the process. So you want to kind of try to keep from doing so much in one cup, and if you can, divide it up into separate cups. That just makes it a little bit easier to manage and gives you a little more working time. And almost there. 3.4, a little drop, boop, and 3.5. Okay, so there's 3.5 in that one. Let's do another 3.5, make this 7 ounces. There's 5 ounces, need 2 more ounces. And there's 7 ounces in that one. We'll swap cups, and we'll do 7 more ounces, or bring this one up to 7 ounces. .1. .5, another half an ounce, and I'm at 7. Okay, so we'll clear that off, set that back off to the side. Now, the fun part is we have to get them stirred up. So I'm going to go ahead and get to stirring. and get these things mixed up and then put them in my debubbler because we don't want bubbles in this one. Okay, we are back now. I have all my resin debubbled, so it's all nice and clear. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by removing some of these. Now I also have some extra leaves that I'm planning on putting in to give it a little bit more greenery. So we will start by pulling out and setting them off to the side just where I know they will go. Because the first thing I want to do is I want to pour in some resin, and I'm trying to put them where I know I can put them back now that I have them all laid out where I want them. Oh, that one came off, that's fine. Just pull each one of these out. There's a little leaf. Set this up here so I got more room. Okay, now comes time for gloves. But before I do that, I got a little bit of trash in there. I'm going to go ahead and take that out with my tape. Just to try to keep my mold nice and clean. Now I know when I put this stuff back in there, because it's got a lot of trash with it, it'll be there, but as much as I can eliminate, the better. There we go. Okay, so let's get some gloves on, because this is where it starts to get a little messy. Because one of the things you really want to do is you actually want to dip into one of the cups and then place it in there. So you want to, and it will help you to eliminate your bubbles by doing so. Now, of course, it's very difficult to keep from getting all the bubbles in there, but we're going to try to keep it as much of them out as we can. So we're just going to pour some resin in, spread it around, get everything nice and wet. I'm pouring it in the higher area so it flows down to the lower area. Same thing up here, just to give it a nice coat of resin. And we'll do some up in here and over here. There we go. Let the drips off. Scrape it on the other cup. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my bigger butterflies. So I want to go ahead and take my cup. I'm going to get the wings all nice and dipped in there. Get them good and covered. And now I can take it out, let it drip a little bit, and place my butterfly. Making sure to cover it and get it in there. Now I'll do the same thing with the other butterfly. Because I know right off the bat I'm putting in 2 butterflies. Get them both good and covered. And we'll place this one right there. Try to get the wings to where they're laying down. And now I can start grabbing some of my other pieces and start layering them in. And I like my stuff to overlap a bit. Now, I won't make you watch this all. I'm going to go ahead and I'll fast forward it from this point. Okay, so I am done placing everything inside. Now you'll notice that the mold is not completely full yet, which is just fine. Now I have made quite the mess here, so I've got to get some cleaning up done. Okay, I'm back. Now what I plan on doing is I've got it all poured. It's been curing all day, so I can touch. I'm going to go ahead and pour my final layer on here, and the last layer is going to be my Pearl X White. It gives a really cool effect on it, so I'll show you here. It's just a nice powder. I bought it from Hobby Lobby, and again, it's not something I'm sponsored. I don't have enough showings to be sponsored yet, so hopefully you're going to like this video and subscribe, because that's what I really need, is you to hit that subscribe button and the like button and hit the little bell icon, because that's going to let you know when I have a new video out, which I will be putting out several videos over the next couple of weeks. So need to get it started. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start off by weighing my cup. I got to get my resin. All right, that's zeroed out. And for this, it's just a little bit of a lip, but you'd be surprised. I'm going to do about, I'm thinking around 6 ounces. It's probably more than I need, but I can always pour the extra into a mold. So we're going to do 3 and 3. So I'll start my pumping. See where I'm at. I'm at 1.8, so I need another ounce and 1.2. I like these little pumps because you can pretty well judge it. There's 3 ounces by the number of pumps. So if you count on one, usually it's about the same number on the other. 4.5, 5.4, 0.7, and we're at 6 ounces. All right, so now I'm just going to go ahead and start mixing it up, and then before I debubble it, I will put in the Pearl X White to finish the pour. Now I will be demolding it tomorrow, so I will show you guys when I get it demolded. And I'm going to do one more thing to it. I'm going to actually put a hanger in it as I pour it, because a lot of people like to hang these up. And I'll show you the hanger here in a little bit, as soon as I get this mixed up. And once again, I don't care about bubbles. I just care about getting it nice and mixed. Because like I said, this does take about 25 ounces of resin. So, and you guys know how resin is not cheap nowadays. So we want to take and get it good and thorough mixed so we don't ruin our project. Now I'm going to be stirring it some more, so I'm going to go ahead and put in my little white. And for this, I'm going to actually put in about 3 scoops. There's 1, there's 2, and 3. Because I want it pretty well. I don't want it to be see-through. And what I really like about this powder is it's that pearlescence. It gives it a really, really cool look to it. I'll let you kind of see as I'm mixing it. Now, once again, you want to make sure that you stir well, because that powder, you want to make sure it gets completely mixed in. And that's why I'm also going to debubble, because the debubbling action, all those bubbles rising to the top, will help kind of mix some of those things when it starts really bubbling fast. And again, by mixing in the powder after I was halfway mixed, now by the time I get the powder mixed, the resin is thoroughly mixed. And again, I scrape my stick, then scrape up here to pull that down in there to make sure it gets nice and thoroughly mixed. Now, I've had people ask why I haven't gotten a stir machine. Well, honestly, it's about the, I could be doing something else while I'm stirring, or having that automatic stir, but I kind of enjoy doing the stir. Okay, that should be thoroughly mixed now, so we'll put my cap back on. I got a little white powder on my finger. Okay, so I'm going to go give us a pause here so that I can go ahead and get this mixed up, and I'll be right back. Well, my wife pointed out something to me. She said, "Are you going to pour it over the top of those things that are sticking up?" And I looked, and I had a rose that was sticking up right here. So I am going to open this up and try to snip that off, because what I'm about to pour will cover that up. So if you do have something that's sticking up when you put your final coat on there, you can probably snip some of that down to where it just barely gets covered. Now, the other thing, and you can probably hear my debubbler going back there, is I've got these little wall hangers. Now, I'm not going to use the screw, I'm just going to use the bracket. So I'm just going to take out a bracket. I'll show you this while that's debubbling. So it's got a little hinge thing, but if you take it and you set it on there like that, and what you want to try to do is get it to where it just stands up, so I can take and put a couple of little skewers, one on each side, to get that to stand up like that. Somehow I'll make it work. Or actually, I can probably just shove it right underneath that leaf a little bit. At any rate, the main thing is you want your little deal to be out like that, so that you can actually hang it up on the wall. So I think that might work right there. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to go and check on my resin. It should be about done. Okay, like I said, it was done. So, got just a few little bubbles, so I'm gonna just run that little torch right over the top of it, and it's ready to go. So now I'll get my little stick. Now all I want to do is I just want to cover the top of this as much as I can. So I'm just going to start over here, just start pouring it in. Try to get as much coverage as I can. Like I said, I really like this pearl white. for this end, I'm going to sneak it in right up underneath here. Try and keep my head out of the way for you. And it looks like 6 ounces was the exact amount that I needed. I'll give me a little scrape around the edges and get out the rest of my resin. All right, a few little bubble pops. We might have to do something about that stick because I don't want that stick to be stuck in the resin. So I will show you what I do before I demold it. I'll figure it out. At any rate, for now, I will come back tomorrow morning and we'll do our final video on this and I'll show you the result. Okay, I am back. Now, it's time to demold. Now, I will say this, last night I did go ahead and find me one of my silicone stir sticks, and so I was able to put that in and get that to hold that little hook there so it can be hung up. Now I'm just going to pull that out. It didn't stick whatsoever, and now it's time to demold. So the first thing I'm going to do is start loosening up all of this. Now it got to sit there and cure pretty much all night, so it's pretty solid. It's not going anywhere. So we'll just loosen up all the way around so we can pull it out. Got to pull this, and then this gets a little tricky right here, but if you pull from underneath and you give this a little push to loosen it, generally you can get it off. Now I do have a little bit of cleanup to do on it. Just pop it right out. There we go. So you can see I do have a little extra stuff, that overage on it, but generally you can just take a little knife and just kind of go right over it and it slips it right off. Just knock those little things right off. Got one right here. Okay, let's go ahead and I'll clean the rest of that up off camera. Let's see what it came out like. And turn it over, and there it is. Oh, I like that. That came out really good. Now I will try to take a couple of pictures of it. Couple beauty shots, so to speak. But there you go. Turn it up so you can see the head. It's got some pretty flowers in it. And I just love how those butterflies, there's the butterflies right there and there. And let's see, we got a couple more over here in this one. You can make those out. There we go. We'll come back this way. Whoops. There we go. And that is the big betta fish butterfly mold. Oh, and it looks like I got a big bubble right there, but I can fill that in with some UV resin and it won't be seen. If If you can see that right there, right where my finger is, got one big bubble. Other than that, everything else came out nice and clean. I got a couple other bubbles in there, but I can take care of that off camera. So that is that. If you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to like and share, and don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell icon so that you get more of my videos when they come out. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.